when you first started writing, how did who did you follow in terms of pattern you're writing after? Were there any two or three authors that really triggered how you write?
I thought it was going to be the next Elmore Leonard, right?
Aha,
Yeah, didn't we all, right? Yeah,
aha.
wouldn't we all like to be the next Elmore Leonard? But I emulated his style, and I realized after first few attempts of writing, what I thought was like him, I realized that I was mi failing miserably at it, and had to rethink my approach. But you know what I'm talking about. You wind up you think. I also look at Robert B. Parker as one of my idols from a writing standpoint, and Stephen Hunter. Those folks. So all that is. I think helps to develop your own voice, if you will. And yeah, I started out thinking I was going to be Elmore Leonard, and tried to do some of the things he does, and he makes it look so effortless. It's just you realize after you get into it that ain't easy.
Well, it's been my experience. I've never worked so hard to look effortless in my life. Um,
Good point. Yes, indeed.
I've spent the last 4.5 days on my third uh, edit of my third rewrite of a book that is coming out in, well, it's now September.
Mm,
And, it's okay because I live in Alaska and it's been
hmm
brutally cold here.
right.
And so this is a really good time of year to do that. But I suppose if it were 75 degrees out there and the rivers were open and fly fishing had started, I probably would be grating my teeth sitting here doing this, which is why I try to schedule my books around, our 4 months of summer.
Fair. Yeah, fair point. Well, I do not envy you that brutal cold. I mean, I am from Dallas, Texas, and have lived through my life. So we hibernate during the summertime when it's 104 degrees outside. But I'll tell you a true story right this very minute. That the entire city of Dallas is in panic mode because there is going to be like 4.5 flakes of snowfall over the next few days, or I guess tomorrow sometime. So the grocery stores have been decimated, and the city, road crews are all on standby. It's incredibly idiotic, but that's how we are here. We get freaked out when it comes down to 4.5 flakes of snow.
You know, I I'm very familiar with Dallas. In another life, I built communication networks for the oil and mining industry, and
Oh,
I
wow.
actually owned a home in Dallas for quite a while because I was spent
Okay.
so much time down there.
hmm
Um, and I like your winters. Okay, your winters were just fine. Okay,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I did
yeah.
not like August.
100 days out, or 99 days out of 100 during the winter, it's great. It's just that
Yeah,
one ice storm that hits that just paralyzes the city.
yeah.
That is the problem. So yeah, it is definitely. My wife and I joke because, like I said, we hibernate during the summertime. We just stay in there underneath our air conditioning vent while, during the wintertime. If I were up north, I'd hibernate during the winter.
No. Well, I write two different series now, and as you have, but mine are continuing, and uh, I I have a historical fiction series that I like to, the way I explain it, I like to find snippets of history that don't make sense and then write a fictional story that's probably more accurate than the history books. Um,
Ask you
and
about that when you get a moment there. Go ahead. Continue your
there's
thought.
a lot in Texas. A lot of what I write somehow goes through Texas in one way or another. But I began that in hopes of, I'm a political scientist and political economist
hmm
by education, but I've been
hmm
in the business world my whole life, all over the world. And I write it so that I hope enough readers will read it that maybe I can move the needle just a fraction of an inch in terms of making a little bit better world.
hmm
Um, do those thoughts ever cross your mind when you write?
Honestly, I'm gonna say no, and the reason I
Okay.
say that is because I don't want to. It's admirable goal. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to influence the world in the way that you described. However, I feel like my strength lies in just having fun and telling a fun story, and if
Great.
and if that's to me, that is a contribution, right? Because we all need a little bit of fun, a little
Yeah.
escapism. So if I go back to my Pulp Fiction example, none of the stuff that I write, I think, is going to influence somebody, change their mind, give them maybe a different perspective. It's all just about escapism and fun. So, having said that, not opposed to it. Just I don't think that's where my strength is. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. And I could sure see that in the book in Cottonmouth. That is a true escape book. I mean, from the moment you pick it up, you're somewhere else. So,
Yeah, that's what I aim for. So if I hit the mark, then that's awesome. I mean,
well, I think you hit the mark.
I wrote one called Working Stiffs that I tried to get a little I don't know, messagey, if you will.
Mhm.
And it's one of those books you either love it or you hate it. And it's just if I were to do it again, I would go back and I would change a bunch of things and it would be different flavor. But anyway, that was my one attempt at sort of having a little bit of a maybe a social message.
Well, I can honestly say I don't think I'm ever messagey or
Hmm.
preachy in the books.
Right.
I just like to find parts of the past that relate to the present and write
Yeah.
about those.
Yep.
And that
That's a
it's
much
the
more
old
subtle approach. Yeah.
well, it's the oldest adage in the world. If we don't
Hmm.
know about our history, we're bound to repeat it. We're going to
Yep.
do it anyway. That's been my experience. I could write if I wanted to. I've got one story I could have written 5 times going back to the late 1300s. So
Mm.
um, you just change the setting, the characters, and the costumes, but it's the exact same story repeats itself over and over and over again.